Hey, so this week's video, we're talking about income producing events versus lead generating events. And a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, but Lauren, I want my events to be lead producing and income generating. And it's definitely doable. It's really hard to do that the first time around unless you've already had a really, really wonderful following that will follow you to the ends of the earth. And not too many people have that. So let's start with talking about lead generating events and why events in person can be super, super successful and why lead generating events don't have to cost you a ton of money. So lead generating events, number one, the first thing you need to know about them is that when you get people in the room, you have to deliver. So if you're not a great teacher or you're not really a good kind of stand up in front of everyone and talk to a room, you might want to play with different formats. Do you want to sit in a round table? Do you want it to be more of a Q&A? Do you want to bring some friends in and do a panel so that you don't feel quite so alone? In order for your event to generate leads from the time you spend on it, you need to produce and give really great content in a really engaging way. Otherwise, people are just going to check out and be like, I'm wasting my time here. So think about how you interact with your clients, your ideal customers, the best. And then think about how you can provide them with the value that you know that you can give to the clients that you're already working with, maybe over the phone or maybe over the internet or maybe over email. So that's number one with lead generating events. Number two with lead generating events, a lead generating event must have some sort of soft sell. It's really, really great if you go to all the work to put together an event and then at the end you say, okay, thanks so much for coming. I think that can be a really good sales tactic because then people don't feel like they're being sold to. However, a lot of times if people are really engaged in the content that you're producing or giving during your event, and then you say, okay, thanks, see you, bye, they don't know how they can work with you. Do you do one-on-ones? Do you do groups? Do you have a product that they can buy? So while it's not necessarily great to be pushing your product in every single kind of opportunity that you can do it, it's really, really great to give people the opportunity to maybe talk to you after the event and say, if you really are interested in learning more, I have a couple things that I can tell you about. And that might be another way that it doesn't feel so sleazy, but you still can generate some leads. Number three on lead generating events, you must have some sort of sign up. You must have maybe email sign up, or maybe it's just their name and their phone number, or whatever you need to do. I would say email because that's the best way to kind of get people into your circle and start getting them to know you and trust you. So if nothing else, if you don't have any sales pitch, you're just throwing an event to throw an event, have them sign up onto your email list so that you can at least kind of generate some leads over the internet and kind of bring it into a different space after the event. So those are the three things on lead generating events. Income producing events, that's the second part of this. Those are a little bit more difficult. For example, when I threw the Boss Lady Bash a few months ago, April 7th, when I threw the Boss Lady Bash, it made a profit, but a very small profit. And the only reason it made a profit was because I really worked my connections in my local community to get some things sponsored, to work with people on sponsorships. And I identified some key entrepreneurs in my community who really wanted to support this event. It would not have made a profit. I think probably I would have lost 3 times the amount of money that I put into it if I had done it without the help of others. And so it's really, really important to know that do you have a community of people who will support a higher price point or a lower price point based on what you're about to deliver. Events are inherently expensive, and not to say that you can't make a profit on them. You absolutely can, and if you need to know how, feel free to book a coaching session with me. We can talk all about it. But events are inherently expensive, and that's because they deliver so much value to the people who are attending. You meet all of the right people in all of the right places at the right time in your business if you're really ready and open for it. And so that's why in-person events that don't have a high price point oftentimes will lose money. And again, this really depends on where you're hosting it, what kind of sponsorships you're getting, etc. But for income producing events, number one, do what you absolutely can to drill down your target market and then go and ask for sponsorships. When I was asking for the Boss Lady Bash and some other events I have coming through the pipeline, I know exactly who is coming to this event, and I know that I can sell it out. I mean, I had no idea that I could sell it out in the past, but I know that I could get between 10 and 50 women in a room in between the ages of 25 and 40. And so when I started thinking about businesses that had space to host that kind of demographic and wanted that kind of demographic in their doors, it opened up a whole array of different local businesses, local, people that wanted to host this event. And so I think it's really, really important if you're looking at an income producing event to identify if your audience will pay a large fee to attend, to kind of be in your presence, and B, if they're not, if they're kind of still in that, you're still kind of getting your name out there, it's really, really worth looking at businesses or local places that you can host your event and that want your audience that you can deliver on, and are happy to just offer the space for you to do the event there. So if you have any questions about income producing versus lead generating events, feel free to pop them in the comments below. I'd really love to hear kind of what you're struggling with when you're planning your event, how to know, a big question I get is, how do I know how much to spend? Well, it's infinite, to be honest. But any questions that you have, pop them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you next week.